So, let's talk about the Judge, shall we? Oh my god. Let me tell you. I've been watching Walcom S7's videos lately. Just getting off of work, walking back home, and at the very end of the day, I was checking some of the alpha kits that were going out this week, and basically, he showed me the video of Walcom 7 disassembling the Judge. And I gotta hand it to Walcom, man. I gotta hand it to the guy. This guy hit it with everything he had. His determination was so ironclad, I couldn't believe it, okay? I couldn't believe it. Wow. So Romeo Y, Juliet of it. Oh, that's strong. Romeo Y, number one. Oh, this Mercedes go by. Go ahead. Nice color. Look at this guy's car. Wow. That's a very expensive car in Singapore. It's a 7G Tronic. Very nice. So, he finally got it apart. And a multitude of shell pieces, I mean, that are beyond any production manager's dream of tooling. I would have to guess in, you know, China, that thing must have cost $500,000 in tooling. Just for the tooling. What a wasteful way to spend $500,000. For some toy companies, $500,000 for tooling is their entire product line. This thing is huge, okay, as you know, but even more huge is the layering of plastic pieces on this blaster. So not only is it big, you got to think of the fact that that's not one continuous shell. That's shell on top of shell on top of shell on top of shell, okay? The other thing is that he took it apart, he finally got the bastard apart. And I must say there were quite a few things in, like, now of course you heard my verdict before. My verdict has been long laid out on this blaster. That I just think, the judgment on the Judge. If you guys saw that video when I was at Plaza Singapore. It was, I already preempted it was just going to be a terrible blaster. And it is. It is. You're talking about a blaster that you have 10 rounds and 6 shots per. Okay. You have this plunger tube that's about the size of a sludge fire. And you have all this other stuff going on. But I saw several failure points when he opened it up. Number one was a priming system. Not only is it a geared system, it's a geared system that pivots on one tiny little orange pinion, okay? It's tiny. It's definitely going to be the first to break. The rack won't break. The rack of the gears won't break. The little thing that goes like this, we'll see something. If you haven't seen Walcom's video yet, see it, okay? Dude, that one little gear is going to break. It's just going to break. You up the spring load even to 14K, and I would love to see something like an Artifact 14 kilogram spring in there, or a Zim 14 kilogram spring in there, which actually are the same spring, by the way. I would love to see it in there, but you can't. You can't do it. It would that one little gear system would break. The next thing I didn't like was the fact that the trigger was on this dinky little steel pull that went from the trigger mechanism to the catch system. Oh, awful. Just awful. That thing, if you threw a decent catch spring in there, would either be liable to break right away or down the line. And I don't mean break as in break, I mean break as in bend. It would be kind of like an Alpha Trooper if you try to go like 12K on it and the whole bar bends on it. Yeah. It'd be like that. So that kind of sucked. The turret mechanism, it looks fine. It doesn't look like anything to write home about. It looks okay. It definitely has a lot of jerkiness because you have a lot of mass. And what I saw about this turret mechanism was that it's solid on both sides. It's several pieces that you put in. This is good because this brings down your mold costs. You don't have all these little pieces of the turret you have to make. You can divide it by 3 or 4 and then put them all together. Okay? But it's still big. Now, here's one thing I thought about the turret. Okay? This is a place where they could have saved a lot of weight, and they could have made it so that you had a plate in the back that's screwed on, and then you simply had the front piece that just had a front like that. 2 millimeters of plastic, 1.6 millimeters of plastic. Doesn't take much, right? The turret's too solid, and I can tell that it's causing a lot of rotating mass when it's priming. So if you prime it too fast, it goes back into the position it was before. That's one place where they could have really saved. And of course, you throw a 3D printing unit there, it's going to be too heavy, because it's going to be heavier. There's no way it's going to be lighter, you know. I would love to see, as much as I don't like the Judge, and I don't like the size, and as much as I am a proponent of smaller, more effective blasters. You see what I'm saying? As much as I am, I would really like to see a Judge able to do 70 flat. 3 shots, 70 flat. You could do a lot of damage. A shotgun blaster is no small little thing. I mean, I've been playing with shotgun blasters for a while. One such blaster was the Messenger from Hell. That's right, a Rebel Messenger. It was a shotgun blaster. How so? Well, you have 3 barrels. You load each 3 barrels with 3 S7's. The barrels are 4 inches long, and when you fire, you're throwing 3 S7's about 45-50 flat, which is about the same as a sledge. So people that brought a sledge fire to a war, I brought 2 Messengers to a war one time, Messenger from Hell to a war one time, and I kicked his ass. I just kicked his ass across the board. It's not that hard to do, okay? You know, that's 2 pistols, 6 shots, you know, 2 shots at the ready at any time. That's really cool. Alright? So, I know the effectiveness of these blasters. Even if you got something that can only shoot 30 feet or 50 feet, in close quarters combat, you got much more likelihood just to slam them. So let me tell you what I'd like to see. What I'd like to see in a shotgun blaster, okay? Number 1, the ability to shoot 4 shots at a time, not just 3. Which of course would push your plunger volume to probably 100 cc's or so. Because remember, that plunger is not just dividing force, it's dividing airflow per dart. This is why a sledge fire spring has to be so strong. This is why a sledge fire tube has to be so big. You're taking 75 cc's about, and you're dividing it by 3, 25 per dart. If you don't do that, you got something like a triad that barely has enough to fart the dart out of the barrel. So you definitely need enough plunger size to do that. Okay? So number 2, I would like to see something that uses more of a smart AR system, as in something that maybe it rotates to smart ARs, but then fires. I don't know, something that's a little more fixed barrel than a rotating mech. Maybe a mechanism that's more internal, valve-wise, that figures out where your darts are and does so. And not something complicated like a Hornet, although a Hornet was a really good shotgun blaster if you knew what you were doing. You had 30 flat and 6 darts. The people who know how to use a Hornet really could kill. The problem is most people didn't know how to use a Hornet. I would love to see something that can load 3 darts into a barrel at a time and fire in perfect register. Something like a rifle, a clip fed, you know. That'd be a good shotgun blaster. I would like to see a lot of these things done, but one thing that really came to my mind when I saw the Judge, and Hasbro's gonna hate me for saying this, I'm almost certain. We've all seen the triple turrets that were made for Cyclone Shocks. I think there was a Roto Fury one at one point. Okay, hold on a sec, I gotta relight my guard. And why weren't they maybe anything great or spectacular? Well, a couple things. One, you have to have an equal amount of power and air to each dart, or it's going to be underwhelming. Just like this lighting is underwhelming at the moment. There we go. Okay. You got to have something that equals out, and then that's what those 3 ARs are for on a Sledgefire and on a Judge. Is that it makes it so if one dart flies out of the barrel sooner, the other 2 still have air and power. That way the 3 go out fairly at the same velocity and fairly at the same rate. Okay? I'm seeing that a lot of these 3D turret designs didn't have that. And that if they did, and put them into the shotgun blaster. It's not a sealed breech blaster, where you absolutely do not want an AR on like an Alpha kit or an Artifact kit or any other sealed breech kit. Even the unmentionable ones from Brand X, okay? You don't want anything like that. But on a shotgun, where once the dart is out, it's out, an AR system makes sense, okay? They do. Because it makes sure that the air and the power are divided equally, okay? I didn't see that. Now, what I'd like to see is an adapter that has 3 pins as ARs for a Roto Fury, and I would love to see a turret that has 3 shots per. Oh, that'd be pretty cool, man. Because the Roto Fury's got pretty good air volume. I would say something close to a Bird of Prey kind of volume to it, maybe 60 cc's or so. And I think it would be a lot better of a buy, and it would be much more ergonomic than a Judge. And if I saw somebody come up with something like that, I'd be impressed. I'd be really impressed. I really would. But again, I want to thank Walcom S7 for doing these videos. I think they're very informative. Okay, and even if it's a video that I hated, for a blaster I hated from day one. Okay, I still am like, wow, you know, the determination to get to the truth of this blaster. I think he's a great guy. I hope to meet him one day and hang out. I know there's a lot of Nerfers I hope to meet one day and hang out. A lot of people, definitely, you know, up in San Jose. A lot of my friends there in Washington and Georgia. I just love to meet these people. And one day I'll have a chance. Hopefully I get to go to Endgame. That'll be cool. No final word on that yet. But I really do appreciate what you've done, Walcom. Thank you. Thank you for doing this video. And at any rate, this is Chris Cartea. Don't go changing. And don't smoke until you're 21. Or I'll find you.